If you think Chernobyl and Fukushima are the only nuclear nightmares we've survived, then you've completely missed the secret history of meltdowns that almost wiped entire regions off the map. In 1969, an experimental nuclear reactor in Lucens, Switzerland, suffered a catastrophic cooling failure. The reactor, built inside a massive underground cavern, experienced a partial core meltdown. To contain the fallout, Swiss authorities had no choice but to permanently seal the entire mountain cavern, entombing the reactor forever. A mid-air collision over Palomares, Spain in 1966 caused a US B-52 bomber to drop 4 hydrogen bombs. While no nuclear detonation occurred, the conventional explosives in 2 bombs went off, scattering 7 pounds of radioactive plutonium across the countryside. The incident required a massive cleanup effort, with the U.S. military scraping up and shipping away 1,400 tons of contaminated Spanish soil. On January 3, 1961, a small experimental reactor in rural Idaho called SL-1 exploded violently. An operator manually withdrew a control rod too far, causing a steam explosion that killed all 3 military personnel on site. This remains the only fatal reactor accident in the United States history, and the cleanup was so hazardous, the victims had to be buried in lead-lined coffins. Britain's worst nuclear disaster, the Windscale fire, occurred in 1957. The core of a military plutonium reactor caught fire and burned for 3 days, releasing a radioactive cloud across the UK and Europe. The government downplayed the event, but secretly banned milk sales from a 200-square-mile area for a month due to iodine-131 contamination. The Kyshtym disaster in the Soviet Union in 1957 is the 3rd most severe nuclear accident ever recorded. It wasn't a reactor failure, but a massive chemical explosion in a poorly maintained tank of liquid nuclear waste. The blast launched a plume of radioactive material that contaminated over 20,000 square kilometers, forcing the evacuation of dozens of villages that were then bulldozed and buried. These are just some of the forgotten atomic catastrophes that history almost lost. Let us know in the comments which one of these disasters surprised you the most.